Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Chucklers podcast. This is episode number 16. It is, what is it? What's today?
It is the 21st?
April 20th, 21st?
Yeah, 421.
April 21st. To all those that celebrated their holiday yesterday, if you're listening, good luck. We have Heather today. Heather.
Hello.
Welcome to the Tree Chocolate Nation, Heather.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm glad that you could make it.
Yeah, I know. It's been like 3 weeks. 4 weeks.
As always, we have Paul here. Paul.
Hello.
Yeah, Paul's our co-host. Some people might know.
Some people might
but
know.
We don't. What we really want to get to know is Heather. Heather, describe yourself. Who are you, Heather? Who is Heather?
You know,
Who is Heather to Heather?
That's really a loaded question. I don't know if we have enough time to even figure out what Heather is.
Just write it in an essay.
Just give us a quick essay.
You're supposed to bring out a script.
Found myself at 27 years old, sitting on 2 college degrees.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Nice.
In what?
I have a bachelor's in psychology and a bachelor's in sociology with minors in anthropology in both.
So you're a people person.
What a scholar!
Yes.
What a scholar!
I like.
Oh man!
I like all.
Hold on. Give it, Kevin. That is an accomplishment.
It's a hustle.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Thank you. I really need to get on this thing called the GRE and the graduate record exam.
Okay.
That stupid ACT for grad school and go somewhere. I work at a coffee shop and a retailer, 70-hour a week.
I also happen to work at a coffee
I
shop.
know. I think I ran into you there a couple times. But Heather, I'm pretty redneck hillbilly as they come. There's not a ladylike, classy bone in my body. That's just how it is. I like country music, trucks, fishing, like
mud on those trucks.
Yeah, I love mud. The more mud, the better. I am that girl that runs around with mud on their Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah, sorry.
Nice.
I run around with bugs in my head.
Probably that too. Worms, whatever.
Oh man.
That's Heather.
Wow, Heather, that's a lot.
I know.
I was just blown away by the 2 degrees. I'm at 1.
Omar's still back
but
there.
tell me about the GRE. So what is that? I've never heard of that.
The GRE is a graduate record exam.
Uh-huh.
It is equivalent to the ACT, SAT that you would take to get into college, but this is the I don't even know what they call it anymore, but the test to gauge where I'd be and if I would make it into a graduate school. Okay. Some graduate programs require it, others do not. Okay. Unfortunately, any of the psychologies tend to require it. So it's a test that I need to just be average on. Yeah. But it involves things that I haven't touched in 10 years, like geometry. I don't use geometry in psychology. So I don't care what that angle is. Yeah. Like, that's not... So I have to relearn what these angles are and how to figure them out. So, and I just hate math, so...
Man, okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
So you want to master in psychology?
I want to be a school psychologist.
Oh, okay.
So I would do the testing for ADHD, learning disabilities, so on and so forth, with some mental health help.
Damn, Heather's a true adult right there. Did you hear that? Right there. Gosh, I hope to be like that one day.
Yeah, we need a little bit more of Heather, like in our schools and stuff.
Yep.
So did you get your degree in the same school? Or did
No.
you go to different ones?
I went to Elgin Community College.
Okay.
My first 2 years, and then I went to Eastern Illinois University for my last 2.
Okay. And you got both you double majored?
I double majored.
Oof.
With 2 bachelors because I had enough credits to earn 2 degrees with.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you were stacking like 25 credits a semester.
No, so I literally have a bachelor's with a major in psychology and a minor in anthropology, and a bachelor's with a major in sociology and a minor in anthropology. EIU is a small school out of all the Illinois universities, so they did not have an anthropology major department.
Otherwise, you could have gotten that as well?
Correct.
Oh my God. That's insane.
So I just chose 2 minors and called it a day.
That's insane.
I just chose 2 minors and called it a day. Said very few people in the world. Like, what on earth? That's pretty good.
So why psychology? What in your mind? Because see, the thing is, when I was in high school, I thought I wanted to go into psychology. I took a psychology class. and that changed my perspective very quickly.
Usually intro to psych does it. There are several reasons why I chose psychology. I took intro to psych in high school and fell in love with it.
Yeah.
I remember that summer going to the library and literally reading anything and everything I could get about Freud.
Freud.
Like, just because his theories were so messed up, but they were so great and it was revolutionary and it was everything like no one has heard before at that point. And then I ran into some mental illness myself.
Okay.
So then psychology became like really home to me. And I wanted to learn more. And I always said that if I could help somebody, just one person who deals with some of the stuff I deal with, then my life would be complete. And in order to do that, I need to go into psychology.
Cool. Wow.
It's pretty
Where
noble
do you want
goal.
to go to school for your graduate program?
I really liked Eastern EIU.
Really?
I really did. It was literally a town in the middle of a cornfield in between Champaign, Illinois and Effingham, Illinois. Literally. It's like 3 stoplights and you're out of this town. But the college campus in the town was big enough, you still got that feel for it.
Okay.
But you weren't drowned out in a classroom with 100 undergrads.
Yeah, okay.
My intro to anthropology had 30 of us.
Wow.
Dang.
Wow. Damn. That's crazy.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Eastern is where I'd love to go again.
Omar, how big is Chicago? Like, how many people are generally in your class?
Like Chicago in general?
No, sorry. Like, I'm referring to the university. Yeah, just like
UIC.
How many people? Like,
It's 40,000, I think.
right, 40,000 at UIC. About the same thing for Purdue. So, like, our undergrad
Eastern
classes.
had 18,000.
Oh.
Yeah, it's. I think.
And I think. Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think half the time, and this is because it's a commuter school, but half the time UIC is empty, so I couldn't even imagine 18,000.
Yeah.
18,000.
So yeah, there's definitely like a difference in like big schools versus small schools, like how your learning experience is in the first couple of years. Because like if you go to a big school, right, like first year, like freshman year, all your classes like 200 people, like hardly get to know anyone. But if you start in like 30 people in your intro classes, like that must be like such a great experience. Because it's like, hey, we all know each other, you know. Basically.
Yeah, and you pretty much just follow those same 30 people from beginning to end around every classes. So it's literally the same group that works together. So 2 years later, I'm still with the people I was with when I walked in. Yeah, you.
Was there a lot of dropouts your first year? Like, what was there? Was there a good ratio of people that pretty much started the program, ended the program? Or
what was the retention?
Like 50%. Yeah. What was
the
retention?
No, the retention rate is high, especially for to be a teacher. So Eastern started out as a teaching college.
Okay.
So that's what they're best known for. And they were really good. As for psych and soc, I mean, in my opinion, they had to have had a great retention rate because I graduated with the same people I had orientation with.
Wow.
So
that's pretty good. I don't think you find that in big universities. Like here, we have a interior design school. 30 people get in, right? 6 people graduate from that class. Like it's an insane, like insanely low retention rate.
Yeah, I mean, for my architecture school, we started off with 120, and we're down to 60 right now. 60 or 70, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's already almost 50%.
Yeah.
And I think last year there were only 14. Supposedly, I'm not sure if this is true, but supposedly there were only 14 people who graduated.
Dang.
Out of the college. Supposedly there were only 14 fourth years by the end of the fourth year, their fourth year semester.
Yeah, retention definitely has to do, like some part of it has to be because of that, like how close are you to your fellow peers, right? Like if all of you are best buds, or maybe not best buds, but like at least like know each other, that would definitely like motivate me to continue going, you know. So yeah.
Oh, and I can't wait because third year is hell year for architecture, and so we're just gonna get thrashed, and we're suddenly gonna go from 60 to like 30 people in probably just the first semester alone. Yeah. It's gonna be wild.
I think for a lot of majors, third year is hell year. Because I feel like, at least for me, this is my experience. Freshman year was the weed out year. Because that's when everyone discovered like, oh shit, I don't want to do engineering actually. And then sophomore year was like, establish the basics. Like, here's all the stuff you need to know in order to kind of know everything else. So that kind of sucked. But junior year, so third year, that's when like they basically just piled on all the shit. It's like, this is where like 50% of all the knowledge you need to graduate will come from. Then senior year is just design. Or that's what my plan of study looks like. So it's just like hey, have fun, you know, just like build a rocket, like design this plane. It's like, yay, it's pretty good. It sucks, like difficulty wise, but it's not like the hellhole, like junior year.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with that. Senior year, I took I had to take a social seminar, so this was a class outside of my major. So I took, literally, it was called Pop Economics, and it's how we see pop culture throughout economics. Through TV shows, movies, music, books, like, it was like the dumbest thing I've ever had to take in my life, but they made me take this. Or like psychology of religion. To a point, that was a good class. I love the psychology. But I was like, this...
So they get a little preachy?
Yeah, like, I'm like, half the time I'm sleeping in this literally 4.5 hour class once a week. And I'm a pretty good student. And even I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. My professor was a great professor. Jewish guy. Had some strong opinions in his... Yeah. Strong opinions on everything, so you really had to watch. And luckily it was in the spring semester where a lot of Jewish holidays happened, so we canceled several classes.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but like senior year is full of all those like, so you need your 120 credits and we're just going to make you take these classes.
See, I'm in a great position where I feel like, even though I know third year is going to suck, I've been taking summer classes. I took a year to go to ECC and get as many classes I could get out of the way, where third year, I'm only taking 3 classes. And they're the 3 that are required. And it's a 13 credit semester, both semesters next year. So I'm hoping that's going to help me a lot in terms of time management and not having to deal with any more crap. Because I don't have to do anything anymore.
Yeah.
I'm done with the Jennas. I'm done with the extra stuff. As long as the fourth year architecture classes can fill 12 credits, I won't have to take a weird class anymore. I might have to, because I feel like I saw on the track that they give you that most people will take an extra class, but we'll see.
Junior year was my favorite year. It was the bread and butter of my major. It was everything I wanted to learn, everything I wanted to know. Like, my classes were my world. Like, that's what I was there for. Yeah. So I didn't really have a third year hell year. Like, it was to me the greatest year.
Yeah, it depends, you know. I mean, it's all about your perspective. I feel like I'm gonna enjoy whatever we're working on, as long as it's not stupid crap that we've had to do in the past. If it's really just a diving in deep of actual technical things and learning about actual building technologies and design, like just straight up just design, like just testing you harder and harder on your logic within whatever you're making, really going into like how maybe a building affects the people and how you could make it affect people.
So when I think of an architect major, that's a lot for me.
You think of me?
Yeah, now I do. Only Mario I think about. No, I think of like you sitting like on a table with like a blueprint and like protractors.
Yeah.
So tell me how close to that stereotype is it?
It totally depends. The majority of the field nowadays is computer based. It's still big drawings that we look at and we edit with our hands, but not drawn. There is a great firm in St. Charles, just down 64, and they do a lot of hand sketching. So they asked me, like, do you have any hand sketching experience? I'm like, no. I wish I did, but I don't.
We live in 2018 now.
Yeah, so they don't teach us any of that. It's all computer-based. The schools, it's virtually all computer-based. I know Judson, their first 2 years, they have to do all drawing. All drawing. That's insane.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? I couldn't even imagine having to make edits. Like, it's already annoying enough to make edits on the computer. Edits with, either having to redo it or erase it like crazy. Man.
But I feel like that's where that started. Like,
yeah, 100%.
Like, it's kind of like, you know how they don't teach parallel parking anymore? And it's kind of sad because this is a skill now no one knows how to do.
Hold on, wait, okay. I'm gonna talk about parallel parking real quick, and then I'm gonna talk about drafting. Just because I think I have some really good stories. So, in my driver's ed class, we did learn that parallel parking is the thing, but then they were like, oh, don't worry about it. They're not gonna test you on it. Guess what I had to do during my driver's test? I had to do a backwards downhill parallel park because my instructor or my tester was just a dick that day. He's like, all right, see that parking space behind you? All right, it's downhill, park there. And I'm like, shit, all right. I had to pull out all the stops and my maximum brain capacity to do this thing, and I passed. So
was it a steep downhill?
I would say it's a decent. It's enough where you would have to put your parking brakes on, So
I don't even think I remember the rules to uphill downhill parking.
It's so the way you park. All I remember is up, and away. So if you're in an uphill, you turn it to the left, away from the curb.
Okay.
Because that's it. So it must be
that's where
down and towards.
Yeah.
So if you're downhill, you put it towards, because it would make sense. Because if you put it away, then if for some reason the braking, the what do you call it? The parking brake does give out, then your tires hit the curb and goes onto the grass if necessary.
Okay.
And then if it's down and towards, then the back of the car gets jammed onto the curb.
It shows how many hills I've parked on.
I remember. I mean, it was a great little phrase, up and away.
There you go.
It works. I mean, I never do it, but it works.
Right, so that's my parallel parking experience. But real quick. So it's funny that you mentioned drafting because I absolutely love drafting. I think it's a skill that not a lot of people in my major kind of appreciate, just because everything is digital, and it's really hard to design things with pen and paper. But I've been recently diving into the world of mechanical pencils again because I used to be in it. And now I'm about to drop $30 on a mechanical pencil because I absolutely love the kind of the culture around it, how deep you can dive into it. And just for all our listeners, what differentiates a mechanical pencil, a regular old mechanical pencil, from a drafting pencil is the fixed lead sleeve. So this is an audio podcast. You can't see this, but but it basically, if you look at your mechanical pencil and it has a thin tube where the lead comes out instead of just ending at a conical point, if that tube is around 3 to 4 millimeters long, it's a drafting pencil. Because when you're drawing things and you're marking lines along a straight edge, you need that extended tube, so then the pencil doesn't rub against the straight edge. And so this is my current daily driver is a Graph Gear 500. I highly recommend it. Very nice balance and weight, and it's at a quite budgetary price. So check that out. Yeah, but budgetary. But also I recommend the Rotring 600. It's a very weighty pencil and it's basically indestructible. I am not sponsored by any mechanical pencil vendors, but I just absolutely love mechanical pencils.
But you know who we are sponsored by?
We want answers!
Thank you very much, sponsors. I appreciate that so much. Heather, our sponsors appreciate you for coming on today.
Mm-hmm. They told us. In the email, they were like, I heard that Heather was coming on.
Yeah, they're like, yo.
Okay.
Hey, hello, welcome to Tree Chucklers with Heather today.
Is this?
We're very thankful that Heather is here.
Yep, don't forget to use coupon code #Heather at checkout for 100% off.
Yeah, 100% off just for our listeners here. And in fact, we even give you a little money back.
Oh my god. That sounded so disgusting on my end.
Well, we can check off ASMR for the podcast.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
Sponsor
a thing that we
segment,
do. I don't know
ASMR.
why. When did it start? It started at episode 4, right?
ASMR Drake Hipsters. I think that's what I titled it.
For some reason, on accident, we would always do an SAMR little skit during every pod, like 5 in a row. We didn't even notice. And then we're like, all right, I guess it's going to be a thing now.
It is now. I love it.
But I was going to say, so, Paul.
Yeah.
Like what you just described, it would be a great topic for a little video. I would totally watch that.
Mechanical pencils?
You know how you binge on YouTube?
Yeah.
Like randomly? That would be super cool to just learn about.
I know.
Idea for a new show. Binging. Yeah, basically just like hey, I binged on this topic. Here's what I learned.
Yeah, it's like watching like a BuzzFeed video. It's like, oh, okay, I didn't know they were
top 10 things about mechanical pencils.
Watching.
Yeah. I know, like it's a really neat topic though.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, we've been talking about making like different types of what would you call it? Like
content.
Series of videos.
Yeah.
So I'm coming out with a vlog in the next, I think, 2 weeks. We got 2 weeks until I launch that, right?
Yeah, it's up to you.
Yeah, because my finals, I believe, are I have 1 more week, and then 2 weeks from 3 weeks, roughly.
2 weeks from 3 weeks.
I'll be starting that, and I just got a 3-axis gimbal. I wish I had it in the room. I'd show it to you. But Paul and I were messing with it yesterday, so we were video chatting. But I was using my phone, and I was using the gimbal, and it's super smooth.
It was an oddly cinematic experience.
It was like a whole different feel. And I went into a Jewel, and then it was pretty fun. I went into a Jewel, and the lady's like, "Oh, you can't record here." I'm like, "Oh, no worries." Like, is it okay? I'm just video chatting, right? So it's not recording anything.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh yeah, it's cool." And then she's like, "Oh hey, yeah, hey, how's it going?" It was so funny. So I'm like, it's gonna be super interesting to see how people react with me having a camera all the time, because I'm gonna have it on me the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm gonna do it Monday through Friday, because I want my weekends. and then I'll like be able to make like some really cool, get some really cool B-roll, and I do a lot. I will be doing a lot on the weekends in terms of activities. So I'll probably have like a Monday recap of the weekend. Like my Mondays will be a recap of the weekend. That'll be a really big way to start off the week. But in general, like it's so interesting how a piece of equipment can change the experience of whatever you're doing. Like having that buttery smooth stabilization as I'm moving around, and the ability to pan and everything. Paul, I mean, just explain it. How did that change it for you?
You would be so excited about this.
You
out of anyone.
I was super excited.
Paul
was super excited.
Yeah, from my end, being the person basically being live streamed to on the gimbal, so to say, it just improves the quality so much, because one thing with handheld is that, you know, our hands like can't really like, basically like the motion of the hand like kind of solidifies it as like kind of amateurish, right? But like with the gimbal, it basically just elevates it to pro level, and you can kind of pay attention more to the actual content instead of noticing like, oh, I can't see anything because like it's handheld video, you know, all the motion blur and stuff. So like it's an odd viewing experience. The casualness of a vlog, but the professional tracking of of a movie, basically.
Yeah. And I mean, my vlogs are definitely not going to be incredible the first probably 2 weeks to a month, but I'm hoping that I eventually like find my rhythm, find like a theme that I really enjoy, or something that I create, something that's, I mean, it's not going to be original, but it's going to be something to me, like that people associate with me. And I think the gimbal is going to be nice, because I've seen a lot of vloggers don't use a gimbal. They use just like a gorilla tripod or something like that, and it's a little shaky, but it's fine. Mm-hmm. But I like the idea of having a non-shaky one where it tracks me. Like the cool thing about this is that you can like tap on your face and it'll follow you. So if I'm going around, you know, if I would literally want to do a 360 pan of myself, I could. Like it's super weird, but it's cool.
That's really cool.
Oh man, I mean, it's just it's insane, and the idea of vlogging. So there's a psychological component.
All right, that's gonna be good.
So when I first I texted Paul randomly, because this is what happens. I randomly come up with these ideas. I'm like, you know what? Paul, I'm gonna start daily vlogging. He's like, do it, and that was it. That was it for the day. But then I started thinking about it. Right? I'm like, okay, what do I need? I think I'm going to use my phone because it's small and it's compact and it's not going to take up a lot of space. I have a DSLR, but to have to carry that around and have to get that big tripod and everything, it's not going to be worth it. If I need to take things in a backpack, I can throw it in a backpack. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can throw a DSLR in a backpack, but that requires more equipment if I want stabilization, if I want a microphone and everything. It's gonna take up a lot more space. So I'm like, okay, I figured that out, right? But then I was thinking about like my day to day and how that's going to change, and what boundaries do I want to set? The idea that because I was watching a lot of videos on vloggers who don't vlog anymore and why they don't, and a lot of them were like, well, it got to a point where I wasn't sure if I was like, for example, this guy he was having a kid, or he was thinking about having a kid. He's like, I wasn't sure if I was having a kid for the vlog or for myself.
So the vlog like took over his life.
Over his life. Like he was doing every day he'd wake up and be like, all right, what am I going to do today for the vlog? Like that's how serious it got. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, whoa, I don't know if I want that, because that seems extreme. Like I don't want to wake up and be like, oh man, I need to do something for the vlog. It's like, oh no, I want to do something for the vlog, but this isn't like everything. It is going to be a major component. I won't argue that. So I am going to be thinking about it, but it's this balance that I don't think it's easy to have. It's your life. You're recording your life, but I also think of it as a reflective piece, and this is what I like the most about it. I'm hoping to do it. Speaking of 30 or hellier, I'm hoping to do it for a full year. So once I do, I'm probably going to start on my finals day, vlogging on my finals day, which will be interesting, because this semester has been really rough in terms of I've never had a semester so far where I haven't fully understood the project. And with this one, with my instructor, I mean, I like him. I think he definitely pushes different ideas onto me, and I'm trying to work with it. But these ideas are still rough, and I'm like, I'm trying to figure it out. They're so loose. They're so not what I'm used to, design-wise, and coming up with these ideas. So the final is going to be weird. The midterm was weird. But then after that, I have the summer, and I'll have more or less free time for that. But then third year hits, and that's going to be wild. And I'm going to go through all of third year, hopefully, and be able to vlog 5 days a week, and then end on the final day. And it's going to be, and then I'll probably end it there. But so the reflective part, I want to go back 5-10 years from now, and we'll go through this, or maybe even maybe I have kids and I have a family and everything, and I'm like, hey, you guys want to see what I was like when I was 21? It's super interesting in that aspect, like to think that you have a complete, more or less, right? Because you want to edit out only the good days of your day, or have a narrative.
You don't want anyone to see you ugly cry.
Well, I mean, unless it's the narrative you want for that day. It would be really hard if something tragic happened to you that day, and how would you make it happy?
Yeah.
But this idea of this having this moment, this year in your life where you can always go back to it and be like, wow, I've changed so much. I couldn't believe I was like this, that I was into this, that I did that, and see it as a.
Yeah.
Hush!
Oh, okay, this inside.
And see it as a static image of yourself that entire year. And so I like the reflective piece of it, because it would, like, as I'm going through it day by day, you can see it. I mean, you can go back and look at who you were a month ago, and you could be like, wow, okay, like it's only been a month, but I've kind of changed my mind on certain ideas, So I think it's interesting for that, but it's this what I'm struggling with is just this idea of what boundaries do I want to have.
And only you can decide that. What are you willing to share and what you're not willing to share?
Right, and I think you can't really figure that out until you start recording.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. I don't think you'll ever know until you hit a situation where you're like, I don't know if I want to share that.
Yeah, exactly. And I wonder how often that's gonna happen. Am I ready to just be like, yeah, I don't care. I don't do anything stupid or anything that people would be like, wow, you're a piece of crap. So why should I hide anything? But there are some things where I'm like, well, nobody needs to know that, I do this on these days, or that I really enjoy this, and this is just a me thing. Like there has to be some sort of privacy. It just seems hard to do that. Would you ever vlog?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not.
No?
No, because I think it's because I work with people 70 hours a week. The last thing I want to do in my own private time is still somewhat communicate with people. Like, no, thank you. I don't know if I... And not just that, my life is so boring. I wake up and I go to work. I work for 12 hours. I come home and go to bed and do it the next day. Like...
But see, that's the thing about vlogging. It's, if you choose to do it every day, it's, how can I make this day at least have a story, if not be interesting, So I'm like, I know I'm going to have days where all I do is, just chill at my house, but how can I make it interesting? How can I use my time efficiently to make something really cool?
Mm-hmm.
So it's this really creative, like, strenuous exercise in that aspect. But I guess in terms of, like I wouldn't even know how to ask you a psychology question. But what do you think about the people? Is that an overreaction and underreaction to the whole, like, for example, that guy who was he wasn't sure if he was having, like, that double personality, I guess.
It was psychologically, it's almost like he was in a relationship with that blog.
Wow.
If you want to look at it that way. And he had to make the decision if he's going to break up with it or not. And it looked like that this vlog was controlling who he was hanging out with and where he was going, who he was talking to. And influenced his decisions, and he wasn't sure if that wasn't him anymore. So, yeah, he had to break up with it.
Holy crap, I never even thought about it like that. That's kind of true, huh, Paul?
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah, like when you start kind of compromising for, like, the vlog, right? It's like, aren't you supposed to be the creator of it, So
yeah,
it's not supposed to control you. It's kind of, if you wake up and the first thing you think of is your eyes open, is what am I vlogging today? It's kind of like you're in a relationship and you're like, wake up and the first thing you think about is that person. And if the last thing you think about before you go to sleep is what am I going to vlog tomorrow? Like, that's what people usually do when they show signs of affection and love and intimacy towards another person. It's just instead of a vlog.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, just to think that I could, like, the idea of my possessions possess me rather than them being just a possession, right?
Yeah, that's in the world in general. I mean, think about it. People can't sit around a table and have a conversation anymore without having a cell phone out.
Yes.
I went to Impractical Jokers concert.
You went
stand
up?
up.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I love Impractical Jokers.
Oh my god.
Love those men. So of course I have nosebleeder seats, but I didn't care. Whatever. Yeah, I was okay. And I just sit out in the arena as these boys are performing. Like, this is what you just spent $75 to see. And people are on their phones.
Wow.
Like, what's the point? Or concerts.
Yep.
When I go to a concert, yes, I'm going to take 1 or 2 pictures of that artist because I want to remember that. But most of the time, my phone's
in the pocket.
Why am I Snapchatting my whole concert?
Yeah, I agree.
What's the point of living your life through a screen? At that point, you might as well sit and watch TV all day.
Yep.
So, yeah, people let devices and their belongings control them, or the fact that people can't go an 8-hour shift without looking at their cell phones. Like, that's sad.
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy.
Like, how sad is that? Me, I personally love it when I'm at work and I can shove my cell phone to the side. Like,
I think Paul remembers this. I got so mad one day at one of our friends who could not put her phone down. She knows who she is if she's listening. She could not put her phone down for a Thanksgiving dinner with all of us.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now.
Put it down.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is doing it. Why can't you? And she just couldn't. I'm like, I can't understand.
One day I was so angry at my friends. We were like Steak and Shake one night. And I was so mad because they're all looking at their friends and their phones, whatever. And so I'm like, so here's the thing. We're stacking our phones literally in the middle of the table. The first person to touch their phone pays the bill.
Yeah, right.
Like, point blank in the story. Because I want to converse with you, not your phone.
Yep, I agree.
Like, I just don't get why, especially in our generation, this is so hard.
Attention.
I think it's. I mean, I feel like, and I see this with a couple of kids that I see growing up. A lot of parents just maybe they're just tired. Maybe I mean I can't be in the perspective of a parent because I have no idea what that's like. But I know that it takes up virtually all of your time, right? Having a kid and then raising a kid. So maybe like this idea of if I just get him an iPad, I can have an hour or two of my day with just peace and quiet and just to myself. And because of social media and because of all these other tools, this narcissism is growing within us,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like, everybody's got to know how freaking awesome I am, you know. So it's like it's kind of in a different sense being thrown on into parenting where I need my hour, I need my 2 hours. So I get this iPad for the kid and he plays with it all day, and then I don't have to worry about it, right? And that as the kid grows up, that's all he knows.
Yeah.
And so you lose the ability to have a conversation between people. And an ability to connect, really.
Yeah, it's gone. So in psychology, we have a book called the DSM,
Yeah.
and it's had multiple reproductions, if you will.
Yeah.
Or
what are they on now? Last time I heard about it was the DSM-5.
That's what they're still on, DSM-5.
wow, okay.
And so I was doing some research and I was looking at things, and this being attached to our devices is becoming such a problem that they're looking at technology addiction and putting it in this DSM.
I bet.
Which is so sad that this is the world we're living in, where now there's video game addiction.
Oh, yeah.
There is. Now we're going to add phone addiction. Like.
Someone knows a little something about video game addiction.
Very much, yeah. Although I'm not addicted. Like, growing up.
Oh, I'm not addicted.
First step is admitting you have a problem, Eric.
Not like, I wasn't like growing up from like elementary all the way up to high school, going leading up to college. Like, growing up, like once you're like a kid, you know, you fuck whatever, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah.
But as soon as you start going to high school, you turn 16, you gotta find a job.
Yeah.
It's like
some kids don't.
Some kids don't let it go.
Yeah.
Some do, because it's like, well, I have to be an adult now. I pay my own bills. You know, I have time to sort things out.
But there's nothing wrong with it in moderation.
No.
It very much can also be a coping skill as a way to distress. Or if you are having problem in life, so on, it's a way to cope. But when you come home from school and you sit there in front of that TV for 8 hours and then go to bed and go to school, and then like that's a problem.
Yeah.
The fact that you can't put your phone down to work for 8 hours is a problem.
Yeah, I agree. Well, so here's a good question. Speaking about video game addiction, well, I guess on the idea of video games, you always hear stories, you always read about how video games make people violent, supposedly make kids violent. What's your opinion on that? Since you've done so much research, so I'll give you mine, right?
Okay,
I'll give you mine.
yours.
And I don't. If there's facts and logic, I'm very happy to change my mind. The way I see it is, I do not believe video games make a person violent. The violent video games make a person violent. I think the kid is violent. That the video game does not necessarily change the person. The video game could be an outlet for anger, and they're happy with doing that, but they understand that, you know, I'm doing this, but when I go outside, I know it's a bad thing. I think kids have, for the most part, as long as the parents raise them right, have an understanding of what is bad and what is good, and a video game cannot change that, because a video game is not real.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they understand that, right? Because obviously there are some outliers where they don't understand things.
Yeah.
But just a standard kid can understand, this is a video game. I'm not actually killing somebody. I would never want to kill somebody in real life, but this is a fake person, so it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. You know, it's not a moral question in that sense. So that's how I see it.
I very much agree with you.
Okay.
I've read the stats that have shown possibly how video games could cause violence, but honestly, I don't think it's the cause.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think it has to be within you first.
Yeah.
Like, killing somebody's a major thing. Like, that has to be within you first, not because you killed someone on Grand Theft Auto, okay? Like, no. Like, I don't see the cause and effect, or even the correlation to that, like, whatsoever. Okay. I've read the stats, but I'm with you.
Okay. Paul, what do you think?
I think it's kind of like a situation where it's how to phrase. Basically, there's something or being violent in video games, right? There's something like kind of going on there, right? So the situation that kind of breeds like kind of violent people that also leads them to playing violent video games, it's like they're related, but like one doesn't cause the other, basically.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, then we're all in pretty much in agreement. I mean,
yeah.
I just feel like I always see the news just dramatizing this stuff as if it's crazy. And I think the people that believe it do not understand video games. Do not understand that video games are they're strategy games. They're this opportunity for you to be a hero and you know, figure out these complex puzzles. I mean, I used to be a big gamer, not anymore, but I was like, oh yeah, you know, like it's not about killing the person, it's about getting past these different objectives. Like the blood and the murder is not what I'm after. The win is what I'm after. The ability to defeat the system is what I care about. I mean, Eric, what's your opinion on it? You video game all the time. You video game all the time. Step on up.
It's like you guys said, video game. Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Go ahead.
All right. The point is like, video games don't make people violent. It just depends on like how. I'm guessing like let's put it on like in the kid's perspective, right? Let's say their parents buy them a game, right?
Uh-huh.
They know the difference between and bad, but let's put them into an environment where let's say they're a single parent, and you know obviously a single parent can't do everything. You know they gotta go to work, come back, do whatever, right? I think it just involves in psychology. I guess like if you grow up in a bad neighborhood or like you didn't like get to know your parents very well because they were busy doing something, and you just went out in the real world and you don't know like, oh, I'm hanging out with people who aren't influential enough. They do bad stuff that are seen as crime, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess it plays into that maybe like, the reason why they're comparing violent video games into like real world and violent is there are some people who will just try to find a way to blame it on video games because it's like a norm thing to do. It's like something like you just want to get attention saying like, oh, this is a very big topic, let me just throw it in there so that way I can get more media.
So you're kind of saying like kids that grow up in this distorted like dystopia of a neighborhood and
yeah,
they kind of see it as this is kind of part of the world. Like there's already negative things, and this video game just reflects that world. So the worlds are kind of the same.
Yeah, it's like you believe in yourself. You're living in that world.
I mean, so a good question would be why do you like video games?
For me, it's like like you said, like a coping mechanism. Like you know, you come out of work or like you have a stressful day at school, and you just want to like escape. You just want to like
think about it.
You just I want to be in my own world. Just having fun doing things. So for me, it's like I play video games because I enjoy them. Yeah, like growing up, I used to play like video games nonstop, Call of Duty, trying to be like the highest of the highest max prestige level. But for me, it's just like I go to school, do my stuff. I obviously did my homework. Just come back home, I'm just gonna have a relaxing day. I don't want to. Maybe I'll deal with people here and there now and then, but I just want to play video games because I like them. They're a great way to learn like how to like these mechanics work, like how they build this fantasy world out of nothing, like
out of your own imagination.
Yeah, your own imagination. It's just like a fantasy world where you can just like dive in, like you said, like you
well, see, and like the thing is that so video games are probably so. Here's just a theory that I just came up with. This might be an actual theory. I have no idea. But video games today could be books back in the day when there was no such thing as technology. So here's why I think so. So video games, it's this world, right? That is it's a fantasy world, and there's all these characters, and there's a storyline, and everything, and you experience it either playing the video game or reading it. It's the same thing. Mm-hmm. I wonder if. Maybe because of technology, this ability to just explode any sort of story that comes at any small thing, you could just turn it into a disaster in people's eyes by throwing it into the mainstream news. That maybe this idea of video games making people violent, maybe there was something similar back in the day where people were saying books, violent books make people violent. Like maybe that was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was a thing.
I think.
What do you? I mean, I mean, we could probably just look this up, but I feel like that could be
every generation
idea.
has their thing that they blame on violence.
Yeah,
if you will.
exactly. Paul, what's up?
I think an interesting thing to look at, well, two interesting things is, what kind of genre, or we should be examining kind of the genre that people tend to kind of enjoy more, and see how that lines up with their kind of backgrounds. So people from poor income families, maybe they tend to play these genre of video games, and see how that relates to basically escapism, right? So I think with video games and other forms of modern media, it's used as a form of escape, from your reality. You want to experience something that you currently cannot experience in real life, right? And so if these people are, or basically if with video games, right, there's a level of interactivity, and with advancements in technology, it's basically the most real life that escapism has the most realistic escapism route in the history of mankind. Because with books, it's it was entirely your imagination, and the it was basically the author's story. But with video games, it's literally your actions. So the level of interaction in escapism has gone up so much, and it'd be interesting to see how that kind of influences people, psychological kind of influence by escapism routes.
So what you're saying is that as technology has advanced, the ability for a medium to take over your life has gotten stronger, potentially?
Yeah, basically it's with new technology, right? You're able to more explore things that aren't possible in real life, yet make it seem like reality. So basically, let's take virtual reality for example. Once virtual reality gets insanely good, right, to the point where it feels like real life, you're playing a video game, a massive online video game. Who's to say well, if you're doing pretty well in a video game, why would you ever go back to real life? So how people kind of cope with the disparity between their actual life and their escapist reality would be pretty interesting.
I mean, so when you think of VR becoming so good that it takes over people's lives, you usually, for me anyways, I usually think of oh man, you're going to see pretty much virtually the majority of people in this world just get just sit in a chair with something over their head and they don't move for hours, right? But then, or forever. Sometimes that's what I think. But then I realize I'm wait, but you still have to make a living. You still have to go outside and have to deal with everybody else and their whatever.
So, do you know what the Big Bang Theory is?
Yeah.
Big Bang.
Okay.
I mean, I think so.
No, not the scientific Big Bang Theory. Mario. The show.
I thought you were gonna talk about the theory. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I thought you were bringing up the theory.
No, that is not one of my masterpieces. I cannot speak of that one. They hit on this, literally. So Penny is the beautiful blonde hair, model. And then you have your geeks next to her. That's the premises of the whole show. But essentially, Sheldon showed Penny, it might have been WoW or one of those online video games, maybe some fake one.
I have no idea.
And what happened is she got so involved, it took over her life where she missed work, she didn't know what day it was. She hadn't showered in days. She had Cheetos in her hair. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was an exaggeration. But it still pointed on that. At what point are people going to be able to find that line between VR and reality?
Yeah, and just be able to disconnect from something that is so Like, it makes you want to stay there.
Like, I would hate to see a world where people unplug and become completely miserable.
Yeah.
I think I brought this up maybe in an earlier podcast, or maybe I just brought it up to people in real life, or not outside the podcast. There's a philosophical question of basically, let's say that like people create an ultra realistic virtual reality space, right? The thing is, if you want to experience this virtual reality space, which is basically a utopia at that point, you have to give up your physical body and just completely transfer your mind to the computer. The question is, would you do that? Would you basically give up reality and go to a virtual utopia, or would you stick to physical reality with all its quirks and flaws?
Do you want to go around and answer it?
I mean, like, so, well, no, I'm not going to answer it first. Heather.
I'll answer it first.
Oh, I was going to say, Heather, like...
Simplify the question.
Would you go into a perfect virtual reality with basically no problems? Or would you stick to this reality, which has problems?
Hands down, I would stick to this reality.
Yeah?
100%.
And that's it.
Because first of all,
No
perfection is unattainable.
But like this...
So even when you finally step into that world that's perfect...
You'll get bored.
You'll get bored, and how long will that perfection become flawed?
That's true.
Yes.
Perfection is subjective.
At that point, you'll never be, like, to me, you'll never be happy. Yes, this world has flaws, and there's bad times, and there's good times, and there's times in which we fear for our lives, but I feel like that's what life is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You transfer into that body, you become something else. You are no longer living. You are literally just a capsule of molecules. I don't even know. Like, no, there's no way I would do it.
So, I think there's a potential. So I would agree that I would want to stay here, but I think if given the option, it would be very hard to push something aside that is so attractive.
Especially if my best friend has a different reality than I have. Like, I love her. Like, what if she's not in my reality?
Yeah,
my perfect reality.
Oh, like the question implies that this is like a massive, like basically like an MMO, but it imitates our real world with no problems.
Oh, now see someone.
See, it's hard because if it's tailored to what you think is a great life.
Like, I could pick my president in this virtual reality, right?
Yeah.
So that's part of the problem. It's like who gets to decide what is a perfect world? You know.
Exactly.
But you don't know any
everybody's
questions.
world is totally different. But what I'm saying is that because it's so tailored to you, if it is tailored to you, even though I would like to think that I would want to be in this world, it would be so hard for me to just be like, yeah, I mean, why would I want to be in a place that's so beautiful and incredible and phenomenal and perfect for me?
So if it's tailored to you, let's say you're with somebody and you want them to love you. So is it fake love at that point, or is it real love?
Know.
It's like if everything's going for you, like that's extremely important.
There's more to it than we might think at first.
Like, I feel like we can play this game for literally hours because I want to know this person really loves me, not just loves me in my head. Like,
you see, like it's weird. You know, it's weird thinking about it. Can technology get so sophisticated in an example like VR, where it's the life you've always wanted, and you have that option, and someone comes up to you and is just like, hey, you want to do it?
You want to go and rate this?
It's like crazy.
It's like that one anime I like to watch.
What anime, Eric? What's the anime?
Sword Art Online?
Anime with Eric. Quick segment.
Sword Art Online.
Sword Art Online.
Sword Art Online.
Yeah.
Anime for people who don't watch anime.
Yeah, I have no idea what I know what anime is. I don't know what anime is. All I know is that anime is a cartoonish medium in a sense.
Let's say, and essentially, like what we're talking about, like diving into like a fantasy world. That's what Sword Art is. So it's in the future. Like you have like they call it nerve gear. So essentially, you put it on. You say a command word. Basically, what it does, it puts you in that reality. All your body in the real world doesn't move anything. but you can still feel and move around.
Yeah. It hijacks it connects to your nervous system, so all the commands that your brain is giving and all the feelings from like interaction with the world, it feels as though it's real life, even though like nothing's actually like touching you and stuff like that.
I've never thought about this topic like this. It's so great. See, having Heather here just opened like this new door to this topic. It's been insane, man. But you know what, Paul? We're at 56. So how about, do you have a couple of questions for Heather? A couple of interesting questions.
Oh man, let's see if I got a real quick one.
I think this is becoming a thing that we like to do. Okay. Paul is really good at coming up with questions, like just super like things that you wouldn't think of at all, but are interesting.
I thoroughly enjoy those kind of questions where you're like, damn, I have to think about this. Yeah. Like I love those. I'm down.
Right.
All right. So let's. I think like last time I went a little bit. I didn't go existential, but I want to ask more questions that kind of tell more about the people answering them. So ooh, wow, gotta open up my phone for this. What are some memories that keep you awake at night? So, lying in bed, about to take go to sleep, and then you just remember that one time at that, like in 3rd grade, where you just totally messed that talent show up, for example.
Repeat that question one more time, Paul. We just had a little bit of an interference.
All right. What is one memory that keeps you awake at night?
One that you can think of right away, I guess, because I feel like there's so many every now and then that pop up.
It's like, for me, it's a lot of like the really cringy stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like there are some days where I remember certain memories. I'm like, wow, why did I ever do that? I hope nobody remembers I did that.
Mm-hmm.
That keeps me up at night. Depends on how far in the embarrassing factor I want to go.
So I can start off to give you a little bit of time.
Start off.
All right. So this one haunts me to this day. But I'm not really ashamed of it. I'm just like, it makes me cringe so much. So I really liked one of my friends in high school, right? And I was super awkward. I did not know how to like ask people out.
Guys, it was me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And so no, it wasn't Omar. So basically the gist of it was I decided to write a poem, right? I wrote a poem basically kind of like confessing like, hey, I really like you and stuff like that. And then during one of her classes, I walked in, and I had the cooperation of the teacher, by the way. He was really cool. I walked in and basically just like serenaded her with the poem. And then like the teacher, for some reason, allowed us to go out in the hallway to talk things out. And that was just, it was cringe. It's cringy for me because I can't imagine the amount of cringe it must have been for her. Basically just being called out, like, yo, I love you, bitch. We'll never stop loving you, bitch. It was basically like that, except in front of all of her peers and one of her favorite classes. And just looking back, it's like, that could have, like, it worked out, sort of, but it was like, that could have gone over or I could have done that a lot better. Yeah.
Car, just really quick, perfect Vine.
Yeah.
Like, just placement there. That was great.
We'll slice it in. Like so that's basically what happened, except in front of like 20 people.
I love you, bitch. Oh my god. I ain't gonna never stop loving you, bitch.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
I actually remember that. Well, I wasn't there, but I remember you telling me about it.
It was a lot of people talked about it in school, which is worse. Yeah, oh god. It's right before break.
I did so many cringy things. So I also wrote a poem to this girl.
Oh god, y'all are...
That was just
poets.
one thing.
Yeah.
But this girl in my freshman year, oh gosh. So this is a little embarrassing, but I don't really care. I don't care about embarrassment. It was freshman year. I didn't have a car. I rode around on my BMX bike all over town. And I was really into this girl. We were good friends, but I was like, oh damn it, I kind of like her. So I told her one day through text, because everybody did that. I was like, hey, I kind of like you. She's like, oh, do you? I'm like, yeah. It seemed like she was kind of interested too. But then I fucked it up.
Of course.
Totally just messed it up. Because it was like, we had gone like a whole 3 days of not talking to each other, and I was like, damn, did she forget? So I was like, all right, you know what? Oh, this is where it gets bad. I'm gonna go on my bike, go buy a dozen roses, go to her house, and deliver them.
Oh.
Oh my god!
It sounds
it was
sweet.
So weird. Oh,
You shat a brick.
so weird. I mean, like, I was super confident. I was just like, you know what? I'm the man. I'm doing this. I feel good.
My balls dropped.
And so I walk up to that door, and it's her dad. I'm like, oh my god.
Then you serenaded
like,
her dad.
Is your daughter here? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, do I want to do this in his head? He has that face like, do I want her to experience this? Right? And she comes out, and I'm like, hey, so I got you flowers. So are we dating?
Are we dating? Are we dating now? Is this how it is?
That was slick.
And she, well, it wasn't exactly that, but it was, that is, I'm summarizing it. And she was like, oh, let me think about it, but I think it's a no. I'm like, damn. All right.
That's a quick thing about it.
Woo! Man. But hey, you know what? Honestly, I see that moment as, hey, I had the balls to do it, or at least I gained the confidence to do it, so I'm fine.
Yeah.
I see it as a growing moment, and yeah, I shouldn't do that, but also, hey, I'm happy that I was confident enough to do something like that. Not a lot of people have that confidence. It was not well executed, but I appreciate that I did that.
Yeah.
Still, though, definitely a cringy moment. It doesn't keep me up at night, but I remembered I'm like,
Yeah.
All right, so I'll pick since we're doing dating stories. I'll keep my cringe moment in the same. So I like this guy I worked with. Luckily, I had his schedule. So those days.
I was stalking.
Yeah, pretty much. Those days when I didn't work and he did. Okay, I'm not kidding you. I bought a toothbrush every single day because I had to go into the store for something. And I had to pick the cheapest thing, so the 98-cent toothbrush was the winner. We were all fine and dandy until we're on break. It was a beautiful day. I still remember it. Sun's out, whatever. And I was like, oh, we'll just pop my trunk. And we popped my trunk, and it's been the toothbrushes that I have been collecting forever. And so this guy looks at me, and he goes, this explains everything. I was like, how so? And he's like, I just never understood why you came into the store every day to buy a toothbrush.
That would be my first question. It's like, look, does she have a problem with her toothbrushes? Like, what's the deal with the toothbrushes?
Yeah.
Like a decent
I
friend,
totally forgot they were in my trunk.
Oh, man.
Until I opened it up, and this guy's like, and I'm like, all right, well, I just wanted to see you.
Oh, man. Oh,
I think...
So sometimes when I think about that, I'm like,
I
oh,
have another great one. I think Paul knows this one. I was asking this girl that we both happened to ask around the same time, I'd say. And I went to the library. She worked at the library. And I was like, all right, I'm going to grab her flowers. It's going to be fun.
You want flowers?
Yeah, I know, right? I was such a dork. And I think Paul knows this story, even though I don't think I've ever told him this. I don't think I've ever told him.
You told me before.
Oh my god, this is so great. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to surprise her. She's on the second floor. So I'm like, okay, I can't go up the stairs. That's she doesn't like attention that much. She doesn't like attention. Oh man, she doesn't like attention. So I took the elevator, or I took the stairs. Actually, I took the stairs. I should have taken the elevator. I took the stairs. I had completely forgot that this library, if you take the stairs to the second floor, you open that door, the alarm goes off. Oh my god. I walk up. She is right outside the stairs. And I walk up. I open the door with the flowers, and then it goes off. And I'm like, oh my god. Everybody is looking at me. I'm just standing there with flowers as the guy who works there is coming to the door and just turning it off. I'm like, ugh. Everybody just saw that. She knows I'm here. I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I don't care that it's gone bad. I'm going to go do it. She had been asked by someone else.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sad day.
Oh my god. That was just a bad situation.
Oh.
It's alright though. It's so funny. I think it's hilarious. I love it. I love telling that story. It's a great story.
I think people do weird things when
for love.
Yeah,
it's
for
so
the weird
dumb.
things.
Looking back at some of the stuff I've done, I'm like, God.
Man. So I kind of want to share this other story, but it's how much time we got? We got actually, Eric, do you have a story to tell?
Oh,
is it crush related?
Probably no.
No, he doesn't. I know.
I never dated that much.
Yeah.
All right. So this happened about a year ago. Real quick. So basically it was sort of like a same situation where like I was really crushing on this girl and I just kind of wanted to express interest, right? So this is around springtime, and on campus during springtime, there are tables out along campus where you can just buy flowers, but not like bouquets of flowers. It was like a little pot of with a small tulip or something like that. Like basically real cheap, like $5, and you get like a pot with a flower in it. And so I was like, oh, like that's a little bit different, right? It's not a bouquet of flowers. It's an actual living plant. And so I decided to I basically decide that I'm going to give this girl like the pot of flowers. Right?
Oh my god, and Paul, no, I just love this because Paul's like, yeah, I'm different.
Yeah, I'm different.
That's right, I'm not
flowers.
the same old guy she knows.
Yeah. And so, like, I basically got like the funkiest looking one. I was like, oh, this looks dope, right? And so I bring it to, or I text her real quick, like, hey, where are you at right now? And she's like, oh, I'm in class. And like, it was like right in the middle of like a class period. But I was like, oh, I think like that's like a small class, but it's like a lab, like a free lab. So it's like I wouldn't be like disturbing anything. And so I decided to basically just like go for it, just like drop off flowers like during her class. And so find building, find the room. But like I didn't have the foresight to look into the window and see like how the class was going. Like if the vibe was kind of there. I just like literally just walked in with the flowers. Turns out it was like a small lecture with about 30 people in it, right? I'm already in the middle of like the front of the room. And then like, I'm standing there with the flowers. And then I'm like, oh shit, everyone's looking at me now. What do I do? And then like I make eye contact with the girl. She like is giving me like a death stare. It's like, what do you think you're doing? Get the fuck out of here. And so I'm like, shit, I can't just leave. That's super awkward. And so I just like place the flowers on like the lecturer's like table, just like, and I'm like, you can pick this up when you leave class. I'm just gonna walk out of here. That's it. So that whole exchange took about 30 seconds. I walk into the door. I'm like, shit, internally. Place the flowers on the door. You can pick these up when you leave. Then walk out. Like,
wait, you said that to her?
I said it out loud. Yeah, like, you can pick this up when you leave.
So moral of the story: both you boys need to stay away from flowers.
Stay away from flowers. Do not give flowers. Actually, I was the poetry thing kind of worked for me twice. So, yeah.
Alright, keep up with the poetry, stay away from the flowers.
Yeah,
that's the moral of the
relationship
story.
Advice on this podcast.
No, what is up with this feeling of love, and you just act like a moron.
I don't know.
It's irrational.
It's like, I'm an intelligent girl.
Yeah, you
okay?
are.
Okay, I got straight A's throughout college.
Yeah.
Okay, why is the crush come? And it's like every brain cell has left my body, and you just become stupid. And
Right.
I'm like,
oh my god, there's just like. Of all the normalness that I was during those years, randomly I just go out of my mind. I'm just like, wow, this is a new thing I'm gonna do.
yeah.
all of my cringy moments, all the moments that keep me awake at night, have to do with either asking someone out or just like something like during a relationship.
Are some of those from the days where I was like, yo, let's go out and let's just ask girls and see what they say?
No, that worked for me. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh.
Randomness.
Because I was so just here, a very quick story just to end the because we're going long. See, like, look, I told you it was gonna be fun. Paul, me, Jared, Jake, all the boys were single. We were like, damn, what a great time to be alive.
Wait, what?
Like, we're gonna have fun. It was Valentine's Day. We're all single, right? It was me, Jared, and Paul.
Yeah, this is freshman year.
Doing this challenge, quote unquote.
University.
We're like, all right, guys, it's Valentine's Day. Let's go out. Let's ask 3 girls, right? Go up to 3 girls. Like this is kind of a confidence test. Like,
okay.
Really put yourself out there. Get out of your comfort zone. Do something different. So 3 girls. You only have 3 chances. Go up to a girl and you say this specific line, right? Okay. It's, hey, I think you're beautiful. I think you're cute. Whatever. Like something quick. Be like, would you want to go out sometime? And my 3 all failed. I had this very, very, very bad, very weird situation where 2 of the girls I asked were hanging out with older people. Right? Not my fault. And they were both 15, and I was like, wow, my gauge is off. Looking back at it, they were all hanging out with 20-year-olds. I was like, okay,
all right,
that made sense. I mean, and I was what, 17, 18? I think we were 18.
No, we were like 19. This is freshman year of college, yeah. So like 2 years ago.
No, we were 18. It's freshman year of college, 18.
Yes, my math was off.
Yeah, so we were 18. So it wasn't the worst thing, but not exactly ideal. Paul actually hit it off with one, right?
Yeah. So I after a lecture, right? I walked to a bus stop and I saw this girl and I was like, you know what, like might as well like do it now. Went up to her, it's like, hey, I think you're kind of cute. Would you like to go out for coffee? And then we did. And then like, that relationship went somewhere and then it ended, but that's fine. So my thing worked. See, it actually did work.
Yeah. The goal of the thing was not to have this long-lasting relationship. Like, you find love at a moment's notice.
So as a quick turnaround, you'd be okay if a female walked up to you and did the same thing?
If I was single, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you're standing on the street and someone comes up and is like, oh, Mario. I think you too. Are you going to ask me? Are you going to be weirded? Or are you going to be like...
So there is, I would argue, psychologically speaking and culturally speaking, there is a double standard.
Yes.
I think I would be like, this is kind of weird, but if she looked good, I'd be like, all right, I'll give it a shot.
I think like with everyone, like confidence is attractive.
I feel like a girl come and be like, really? Really?
Yeah.
Like, really think about it. I'm like, why is
But
she
you acknowledge the double standard.
I would acknowledge the double standard, but I'd be like, you know what? Why not? I appreciate the confidence. We'll give it a shot. Most likely won't work, but hey.
If a girl said that to me, I would think it's a prank at first. Just because my self-esteem is so low. It's like, hey, I think you're cute. I'm like, where's the camera? Wait, do you actually think that? Thank you so much.
Actually, that happened to me.
Yeah?
A girl asked me out.
Oh, man. How'd you feel?
His balls dropped.
Pretty good.
It was like...
I was a man that day. That's right.
I was a man.
You have a penis?
Oh my god. Jesus.
No, but it was like you said, a double standard. It's like,
why is she asking me? Like, you're questioning all these things in your mind.
I questioned it. I was like, I just give it a shot.
Why not?
So yeah.
Oh man. Whew. Man, Heather, how'd you like that, Heather?
I learned a lot.
Right, man. Well, hey. Thank you to everybody who has stayed this far in the podcast. We appreciate you for listening this long. Honestly, if you've been here this long, there's a little button. There's a little button right next to this video. It's red. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
Paul knows what I'm talking about. Eric is very enthusiastic. It's that subscribe button. If you've been here this long and you appreciate this talk and you really enjoyed it, we love the idea of someone subscribing to us. And that motivates us to do this more and more every week. It's just like, wow, it's incredible that people actually like what we're talking about. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, if you want to just make a very quick journey but say that you've been places, just hit that like button right next to it too.
What?
That like button is just like, hey, I liked it.
That's quite a narrative for...
I know, right? I know.
I'm digging it. Hell yeah.
Right? Exactly. But yeah, thank you to Heather for coming on. It's been a few weeks, but we finally got her on here. Thank you to Paul as always for being our co-host. Mm-hmm. Right? Thank you to myself for just.
Thank you, Omar.
Thank you to Eric.
Thank you,
Thank you to
Omar.
Eric for being a nice little background noise and inputting and actually being useful for the video game stuff. And yeah, this has been episode number 16. As always, we have a website that you can check out. It's in the description below if you want to. We do blog posts every now and then, and I'm going to start daily vlogging soon, so it's definitely going to go on YouTube and on there.
Look out for more summer content in the future.
Yeah, summer content. When the summer hits, we will be rolling. We will be rolling. So thank you to everybody who's listened this far, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you. Yeah. Heather.
Heather, dear.